Soldier, the lead-poisoned fighter of the Badlands from the country that doesn't know what a kilometer is. In my opinion, the best class for new players. Unlike this guy, why is this guy's not working properly, what the fuck? Soldier's strength is his high versatility in combat, having both good single target and crowd control damage, alongside air mobility with rocket jumping. He's very well rounded, and with that the classes he counters are... none of them. That might sound bad, but the flip side of that is that no class counters him either. Meaning you're just as likely to die to all of them, and it's your fault. This is what I meant when I said he was highly versatile. There's no specific class that is really good at killing him. As a new player, this will give you a fair amount of interaction with all the other classes, and you'll learn how they all work, and may even decide to play them after dying to them a couple times. While skills like rocket jumping may take a long time to master, Soldier's base weapons are easy to understand on a fundamental level, making them easy to pick up. It's not like Soldier is the only class that's easy to pick up either, but those classes have more defined weaknesses against particular classes. He's still a good class to learn how to play, as he gives a good view of how the game works as a whole, even if you end up maining something else or become yet another Soldier main. And when learning how to play Soldier, let's take a look at his primary weapon, Big Flying Big Boom Projectile. This thing fires rockets that travel in a straight line and explode on contact. Thanks, Jonto, for explaining the sky is blue. Your teammates cannot be hurt by your rockets, but you can should you be caught in the explosion. While direct hits are obviously ideal for dealing the most damage, you can shoot at surfaces near enemy players to hurt them with splash. This isn't just useful for if your aim isn't good yet either. The explosion allows you to damage groups of players, you can use it to hit someone around a corner you can't even see, you can use it to launch the enemy, but relying on splash damage isn't always an option. They may be on high ground with no nearby walls to shoot, and the Soldier has no way of suddenly gaining vertical speed. Oh, wait a minute! As great as splash damage is, you can't always rely on it. The enemy may be on high ground or straight up airborne, as well as the fact direct hits deal the most damage. You will still want to learn to hit directs, and that involves predicting where an enemy will be as you account for the travel time of the rocket. Essentially, despite its simplicity, there are a lot of ways you can use this thing, but keep in mind it's not your only weapon. You also come equipped with a shotgun. It fires a spread of pellets. Basically, video game shotgun. The shotgun is useful as a quick finisher for a hurt player trying to dodge rockets, a backup for when your rocket launcher is reloading or out of ammo completely, a quick instant follow-up to a rocket launcher attack, a way to attack someone at point blank without dealing self-damage, or because of them. More on that later. But it's still a good sidearm you have for when you need it. And then there's his melee weapon, which deals 65 damage with an 0.8 second attack interval just like other stock melees. But back to the rocket launcher. There is another key part of this thing that I've barely touched upon, and you probably know what it is. The technique that turns Soldier from a grounded, slow-moving grunt into an explosive, soaring eagle of the skies. This is the technique that makes Soldier hard to master. It turns what is the class with the second slowest running speed into one of the most mobile classes in the game. And you've probably seen it yourself, whether in-game or through videos, with all the skill required to pull one of these tricks off. It may be complex, but it's still worth learning the first steps to being able to rocket jump. Look down, jump, crouch, then shoot a rocket at the ground all in quick succession, and yeah, that was it, seriously. You might have not had a great deal of control over where you were going, but that was, by all accounts, a rocket jump. And as should go without saying, where the rocket explodes relative to your position will affect the direction you get launched in. Directly at your feet will send you straight up, but anywhere else can be used to give you more horizontal distance. It even works while shooting a wall. You can even rocket jump into a wall, then jump off the wall mid-flight. The reason you jump and crouch beforehand is simply because doing that sends you much further. And speaking of buttons you should be pressing, I'll tell you this now because it will help a ton in the long run, but once you are airborne, don't hold W. I know, it sounds weird and everything in your muscle memory says you should be holding W to go forward, but that messes up your ability to turn mid-air, otherwise known as air strafing. It's fine when you're grounded, but you need to break that bit of your muscle memory ASAP. Once you're in the air, see that W key? No you don't, it doesn't exist. As for air strafing, hold either A or D and slowly move your mouse in that direction. If done correctly, you will begin turning in that direction. Don't move the mouse too fast, as there is a limit to how fast you can turn. Being able to turn mid-air is obviously very helpful to control where you land even after you launch yourself. Though, speaking of launching yourself, we should address the explosive health risk in the room. Yeah. Rocket jumping isn't free, as doing so costs you health. In combat, it can be quite risky or straight up kill you if you're not careful. But when simply getting from spawn to the point quickly, it is less so. Especially if you remember where the health packs spawn and pick them up along the way. And of course, if you barely manage to survive your own rockets, sometimes the good old ground will be the thing to finish you off. But seriously, knowing where health packs are and playing around them is really important, as just like ammo, you need to treat health as a resource, one you spend when going for a rocket jump. Playing around health packs can allow you to quickly refund health lost from rocket jumping. It always takes 10 seconds for a health pack to respawn after being picked up. Playing around medics is also very helpful, as their overheal can sponge the damage from your next few rocket jumps. In fact, protect those guys. They are an infinite source of health. And remember, rocket jumping isn't just to be flashy. It is genuinely useful in many situations. Getting across the map quicker, escaping a bad fight, getting to high ground, jumping over a group to bomb them from above, playing ragdoll theater, etc. In combat is where it becomes difficult to judge whether it is or is not worth going for a rocket jump. It could be worth it to reposition or just nope out of a fight you don't think you'll win, but that loss in health might make you easier to kill. There's really no way to know for sure every time. You'll just get better at judging these situations as you get better in the game. Getting good at rocket jumping is a skill you just need to practice. And what I said here is only the beginner level stuff. There are many more in-depth guides to rocket jumping and even custom maps known as jump maps, specifically designed to learn it. There are also other unlockable weapons that you may acquire through random drops that can affect not only rocket jumps, but other ways you play. The direct hit is an alternate rocket launcher that sacrifices most of its blast radius in favor of more direct damage and projectile speed. It's all in the name. The idea of this thing is to hit direct hits and rely less on splash damage. The bonus damage is enough to one-shot scouts, engineers, snipers, and spies, crit in the hands of a skilled player, or at point blank where it becomes the best melee weapon in the game. But even then, it's good to consider that you'll still lose out on a lot of crowd control, and the reduced blast radius can mess with rocket jumps. The Rocket Jumper is a rocket launcher that sacrifices all of its damage. It literally does no damage. But that includes you as well, and yeah, the name makes it pretty obvious what this one is for. It's great for messing around and practicing rocket jumps, or to use with particular, unconventional strategies. But do remember that you are sacrificing the power of the rocket launcher when using this. And seriously, do remember that this does 0 damage. Don't be one of those people who equipped it without reading its stats, like bringing a fish to a gunfight with. What in God's name are you doing? Another option is to equip the gunboats. These take the slot of your shotgun instead and make you take 60% less self-damage. This is multiplied with the 40% resistance you get already, meaning 60% less of what remains of the self-damage. It doesn't just add to 100%. This is obviously great to be able to rocket jump more, but keep your rockets as a weapon. But this does sacrifice the shotgun in the process. You literally don't have a secondary weapon, and that can be a bit of a problem in certain situations. Then we have the Mann treads. They share the same downside as the gunboats because the soldier can't wear shoes and use a shotgun at the same time. Is he stupid? But instead gives increased air control and the ability to Goomba stomp people. Increased air control means the limit to how fast you can turn mid-air is now drastically increased, allowing for much tighter turns and adjustments. There's also the base jumper, which is a parachute you can pull out mid-air, but be careful because it can make you an easy target with slow movement. Back on the topic of rocket launchers, there's a couple more to go over. The black box gives you health back when landing an attack at the cost of clip size, designed specifically for those players that can't seem to play without a medic girlfriend 24/7. The biggest bazooka lets you stuff it with rockets to vomit them all back out again in random directions, or just overload it and send yourself flying. The Cow Mangler has unlimited ammo and can even be charged to fire a shot that burns players and disables engineer buildings for a few seconds. But it has an 80% damage penalty against buildings as well as being unable to crit properly. The airstrike has a damage and blast radius penalty, but gives you vastly increased fire speed while rocket jumping, while also increasing your clip size for every kill. The Liberty launcher is just kind of there, I don't really know what it's for. And lucky last, the original. It's functionally identical to the stock rocket launcher, except it fires from the center of your screen instead of the right. So it's up to what you prefer, as both styles have their advantages. But at the end of the day, all these options for rocket launchers lean into specific playstyles or strategies. But if you just want a good all-round option, the stock rocket launcher you start out with is going to be your go-to. Yep, the one you start with is overall the most reliable primary. But back on the topic of secondaries, there are a couple shotgun variants as well. The panic attack is good for close-up burst damage, the reserve shooter is good at shooting people you launch into the air, and the bison is one of the weakest weapons in the game. But we're still not done with the secondary slot, as there are also 3 banners. Each has a rage meter that is filled by dealing damage. Once full, it can be activated, giving a temporary buff to you and any teammates nearby, depending on which one you have equipped. The buff banner grants mini crit damage, the battalion's backup gives crit immunity and damage reduction, and the conch gives a speed boost and makes everyone affected heal when dealing damage. They also each give a passive effect to the soldier when equipped. The conch gives health regeneration, the backup gives 20 extra health, and the buff banner doesn't have a passive boost and is completely non-selfish. Passive effect or not, these are great supportive options for your team and obviously work best when used in a group. As for melees, well, the stock shovel is just kinda boring as there is very little reason to actually use it. But the unlockable melees provide their own utility with varying degrees of usefulness. I would say there are 3 kings of soldier melees. The escape plan increases movement speed at lower health, but marks you for death when you pull it out, making you take more damage. The disciplinary action can be used to hit teammates, which gives both of you a speed boost, making it really good for getting not only yourself, but other players to the front lines faster. And the Market Gardener gives crits while rocket jumping. It's not easy to land those crits, but the downside isn't a huge deal for a weapon you'll probably only pull out while rocket jumping. Those are the 3 best melee options for the soldier, depending on what you want to use. As for the other 3, well, one of them is just the escape plan, but it gives damage instead of speed, which will usually just get you killed faster. The Hasatoichi isn't super bad, but you really have to commit to a kill when pulling it out. And the Pain Train makes you take more damage just so you can capture objectives faster, something Scout already does, and he does better because he's actually fast. Anyway, that was all of Soldier's unlockable weapons. Some are better than others, some have their use cases, but it's good to know what you're bringing into battle. Your primary is the most impactful part of your loadout, with whatever secondary or melee you equip complementing it. You can use different loadouts depending on what strategies or playstyles you plan to use. You can have a generalist all-purpose loadout, a roamer playstyle that likes to rocket jump a lot, a more supportive loadout that sticks with their team, a sentry-busting loadout, a meme strat loadout, or just the literal worst possible loadout on Soldier. But with Soldier's full arsenal in mind, let's talk about actually fighting each class. Scouts run fast, but also die fast. Blast damage can be useful to catch them, but remember, they can dodge or bait out shots by changing direction fast. Splash damage is more effective in smaller spaces, and as mentioned earlier, the direct hit is capable of killing a scout in one hit. When facing another American Patriot, remember they have splash damage just like you. Use corners and cover to minimize chances for them to hit you, or take the high ground and stay away from walls to deny splash damage entirely. Should they take the high ground themselves, you can rocket jump above them. Note that if an enemy soldier rocket jumps at you, you can try to hit them with an air shot by predicting their path. Pyro is a bit of a special case. They're weak at long range, but they also have something I neglected to mention up to this point. The Air Blast. This move is capable of deflecting your rockets and is why you need to be careful when shooting rockets at a pyro. Granted, it still requires good timing on the pyro's part. At close range, the rocket is too fast to react to, and the pyro is instead forced to predict when you pull the trigger. There are many methods to counteract Air Blast. Shooting around a corner can make it difficult to Air Blast it back at you, fire the rocket a second later to mess up the pyro's timing, or just straight up pull out the shotgun because they can't deflect it. This doesn't make pyro a counter to Soldier, you just need to think a bit before you shoot at them, since deflected rockets are able to also hurt your teammates. Though, sometimes the pyro just sucks at air blasting and mistimes all of them. They're a mixed bag. Dimmerman, like you, also uses a lot of projectiles. However, unlike you, lacks a hit scan secondary weapon, as that's a projectile too. Unlike your rockets, neither of their explosives automatically detonate upon contact with a wall, and they're influenced by gravity, affecting their accuracy. Pay attention to their shots, they're most dangerous at medium range. Your shotgun can destroy their sticky bombs, but the rocket launcher only knocks them around. keep your distance from them when possible. Heavy deals high sustained damage and is deadly to fight when caught out in the open. Have you ever rocket jumped into a revved up Heavy? For some reason you seem to instantly die upon trying to do so. However, most miniguns make a sound when revved up, allowing you to know when to time attacks. But even when they are revved up, you can use what's known as corner peeking, taking advantage of your rocket's travel time to peek and hit them around a corner while limiting your exposure to their gun. Do note that rockets fire from the right side of your screen, usually, so trying to do this to the left will just result in a self-made firework display for the Heavy player. The engineer himself isn't built that much for combat, but don't underestimate the power of the shotgun. You're more likely to struggle with the sentry gun he can conjure. The sentry takes a brief second to lock on, so corner peeking is also effective against the sentry, or attacking it outside of its range. The direct hit also deals bonus damage to buildings. Similar to Heavy, don't try to rocket jump into a sentry. Their auto aim will just turn you into Swiss cheese. Just kill him, he doesn't have a medical license, so it's not a war crime. That helmet of yours may as well be made of styrofoam because it only takes a somewhat charged headshot to one-shot you. Either be careful of peeking known sniper sightlines or move unpredictably. Rocket jumps can make you hard to hit due to sheer speed, but your movement can still be predicted by a skilled sniper should you move in a straight line. Snipers are TF2's long-range class. If you're able to get close to them, they become very easy to kill. Turn around, really. This is coming from someone who mains Spy. Spy preys on your complacency of not watching your back. Soldier is the jack of all trades when it comes to combat. Easy to pick up, hard to master, and a blast to play throughout, pun very much intended. Whether you become yet another soldier main, or pick up a different class in the long run, he's great for beginners not just because he's easy to pick up, but you also get a good view of how the game works with all the other classes. So get in there, soldier. You may be brain damaged, but there are people to shoot for some reason. So go get 'em.
Okay. Let's read like this.